if y'all are pitching today, could you come line up here? We're going to start soon.
Hey, yo, can I get a hello? How y'all doing? Hey, so I just want to get to it, story time. So it's 3 p.m. on a Monday afternoon, and I got a physics midterm the next day. So I don't want to be at the PCL because it's not the aesthetic I like, and I want to be at West Campus because, you know, it's too close to home. So I get on Speedway, I get on, and now I'm at a sanctuary building. The problem is packed everywhere. Benches, packed. I go to, under the escalators, packed. I go into the secret classroom, my spot, but it's not too secret anymore, and it's packed. So I close the door, get a little awkward. I didn't want to get inside. 30 minutes come, floor after floor, and I don't find a seat. So I'm just left unproductive, anxious, and not knowing what to do. Can somebody say, hey, yo, what's that?
Yo, what's that?
So next evening comes, and my roommate pulls out his phone. I'm like, hey, yo, what's that? And it says open seat, real spots in real time. I go over, and he scrolls to the third feature, and it shows the main tower. It has the Hogwarts aesthetic I want, and then it shows noise level, not dead silent, not PCL fifth floor rowdy, but just right. I come there, 2 open seats just like it showed, and no distractions, no wandering, locked in. Those extra 30 minutes to spare was the difference between crash out and those 30 minutes to spare was the difference between crash out and confident on the exam. And there was no confusion, no wandering, just the open seat. I won. Thank you.
All right, that was great. Awesome pitch. Like really, really good. As far as like just pitch mechanics go, like story the whole time. Like I don't know if we've seen that yet this whole semester. Like that was great. You just like stayed in the story the whole time. And obviously you had practiced a bunch. It was super comfortable. You had the chair prop. Like that was great. But on the business side, I have all kinds of questions. Like I don't know. Like I'm wondering like I don't understand how that's actually like a business or even how you can do what you say before it does. But the pitch was great. Like it was awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Oh. Yeah, same thing as Josh. Like, crush the story. Like, it is so hard. You can't almost, like, can't teach that. I was locked in. And at first, I was like, I don't see how this business works at all. But the more that you told the story, I was like, okay, like, I kind of want to see, like, how you're going to get into this. Because it's like, that's a sick story. I've been there a million times. I do kind of want to figure that out. You got me all the way. If you had, like, another minute where you talked about how you're going to make money, you would have had me hook, line, and sinker. That was sick.
Thumbs up.
I'm Ayush. Nice to meet you all. I'm going to tell you all a story about busy work today. Now, I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with this concept. Those of you that did like IB or consulting internships, I know you're familiar with this concept. But for you guys that are sort of feeling it out, basically it sucks. It's tedious, repetitive work that you're doing for not much value add to whatever organization that you're in. And if you feel like you're stuck at 2 a.m. putting out another slide deck that no one's ever going to see, you can take a little solace in the fact that there's another group of guys on campus that are also burning the candle at both ends for not a lot of value, and that's football coaches, specifically student assistant some unpaid student intern got off the plane from Columbus at like 2 a.m., went back to his apartment, and rolled back into the facility at 6 a.m. that Sunday morning. For what reason? The Sunday Scout. Okay? This process is basically where Johnny the intern is told by one of the defensive coaches, hey, I need you to go look at every offensive play from the next team that we're going to play, so San Jose State, for example. So Johnny the intern is looking at 150 total plays. Sorry, a little interruption here.
Pause. Go on.
Cool. Let's get back to this. Basically, we've got Johnny the intern working through 150 total plays, each rewinding the play 4 or 5 times to make sure that he can see every route and every blocking combination present in that play. And he's watching San Jose State play Central Michigan, which I'm telling you right now, not the most riveting stuff you're ever going to watch, right? There's Johnny the intern doing this, and 3 other interns also putting together all these 150 plays. And so there's 600 in total plays that they have to chart and put together a card for, which is basically a mock-up of the offensive play that that team's going to run. But when Monday practice rolls around, the coaches at the top, they're only going to select like 100 out of these 600 plays to actually run for the scout team offense. If all that sounds like Greek to you, basically understand that all these student interns are working their butts off, and like 85% of their work goes wasted, right? So that story sucks. Let's think about a different story. Now imagine Johnny gets on the plane out of Columbus, and he opens up his laptop and fires up an app called Play Scout, all right? He drops in the MOB file that he's already gotten from the coaches of the All-22 film for the game, drops that into the app, clicks a big blue button called Process, and takes down. He wakes up, they've landed in Austin, all the plays are processed, recognized through Gemini 2.5, which is the most advanced visual processing editor, the code assistant out there, and it's put together all these 150 play cards together for him. This is simple, rote, basic stuff, whereas previously Johnny would be like manually drawing all the routes in PowerPoint using the line tool. That's archaic. Now we're actually into the future for football, and we can add some real-time value for Johnny and his friends to maybe get their weekend back, maybe actually look at some more high-value film on third downs and red zone, and really try to win some football games for their team. So with Play Scout, Johnny and the rest of this football program, this is a priceless opportunity for them to both win their weekends back and win more ball games for their football team. Thank you.
Awesome. You can pass it off, but good pitch. You definitely, I could see you practiced and were really working on the story. The beginning of the story was like too much detail, and like it was like you kind of lost me even. And like I got that it was tedious, but like I just don't really understand what you were talking about, and it was just too much stuff. And so I think the next step to make this better would be like really now even simplifying the story so that it's just like a simpler story of that first part, and then jumping quicker to the next part, and then in that, try to make that still feel like a story, where it's like less of like, so let me like, imagine this, you download an app, and it's more like, and then he looked over at this, this other person doing it, right, and just more describe what they did, and how, it sounds like a big improvement, but just really simply, uploading the AI and getting back what they need. So I think really good job. And another thing with all of you is like, the next level after that is then incorporating the business model into the story. Like, and that sounds harder, right? But like, how do you explain and get across what it costs and how people pay for it without just saying it, but by making it part of the story? Like, make that, part of what you're explaining. So.
One quick thing to add. I think you have a really cool idea too, but I think it's like really important. A lot of the times you want to focus on labor savings, especially with AI, and it's much easier to describe the value by showing like, what are you missing now that AI can make sure you don't miss? Those football programs are multi-million dollar programs that are all based on winning a game. Like showing how your AI is going to help them get 1-2 points more a game because it's so much better at analyzing some play might be a better way to like show the value.
Hi, my name is Polina, and for me, at least, aside from Luigi viewing memes, health insurance is a bit of a touchy spot because my grandmother is an immigrant, So she didn't have the years of workplace experience that would allow her to use Medicare. And there were a few years where I had to help my mom navigate the insurance space. I was age 12 going to packed gyms full of people who had taken time off from work, loud gyms, people were angry, and I was trying to explain terms like co-insurance, out-of-pocket, deductible, terms given to me by sales agents paid to sell me a product. My mom, who was learning English, and me, who was only half fluent in my native language. The first 4 years were a little tough, and there were some late nights when I was trying to figure out, listing through packets of just insurance terms and conditions, why something had happened the way it was. Why wasn't the ambulance ride paid for? Why was only $10 of our medication covered? It was only years later that I could actually start to live a different story. Imagine instead of going and traveling to another physical location, that I could sit at home and just query an AI model trained on all these packets along with federal regulations. Just ask it simple questions, conversational questions like, what would happen if I had to go to the hospital on this day? Or what would happen if I needed this many doctor visits? And a subscription-based service that I didn't need to pay for the whole year, but instead only the parts of the year that I wished to. I wouldn't be locked in for the whole year like traditional health insurance. Introducing Health Compare. It's a service to help you navigate health insurance companies, terms and conditions, and a way to actually become healthier instead of having to rely on the privatized sector of our economy. I'd like to introduce to you this new vision, a new way of actually understanding how we pay for healthcare rather than relying on what your parents pay for you or what your workplace offers you.
Really good job. Love your passion for it and your personal story. And on the first part of the story, the way you can make the story even better is to maybe say, and I'm just going to admit the example might be wrong, but just as an example, you know, instead of saying it was hard because my mom didn't speak English and I had to do this, and like you were kind of telling the story, but like really telling a story is more like, so I got home from school one day and my mom was crying and I didn't understand why. And I said, Mom, what's wrong? And she pulled out this big stack of bills and it was all from the insurance company. And it was all in English, and it was all a bunch of stuff. And my mom really didn't read English very well, so she didn't really understand it. But she knew math, and she saw the number at the bottom, and the number, didn't make any sense to her. And so she didn't know what to do, and she didn't know who to call. She didn't know, like you'd be like, you're like really telling a story about her, and not like what happens, but what happened. Like actually one time that it happened, and that's where you can bring in and say like. And so I looked at it and I could see like, oh, like all of it was covered except the ambulance ride. And I didn't understand why, but that was like making the bill out to really big. So then I had to call the hospital and ask them, and it turned out they weren't the right person to talk to, so I had to call they sent me to this insurance company, and I had to wait on hold for like 3 hours, and I finally get to the person, and then it turned out that was the wrong person too. It's like you're making it this really personal story that's a lot easier to follow and be excited about, and is more compelling. Great. Next one.
Hello everyone, my name is Adolfo, and I'll be teaching Viking. So I want you to think about the
All right, hold
last
on.
time.
Just speak up and enunciate more, because I can't repeat back to you your name or your company name.
Okay.
You just said them, but I couldn't tell them.
Yeah. Hello everyone, my name is Adolfo, and I'll be pitching Viking. So
One more time. Can you say what's his company name, Garrett?
Is it Viking?
Yes.
Okay, he got it. All right, I wasn't right there. All right.
So I want you to think about the last time you watched a big game. Maybe it was a nail-biting finish or a last-minute play that won the game. And imagine this: as you're watching this, you're sitting at home, alone. So you're shouting at the TV, you're cheering, you're supporting your team, but there's no one there to share it with you. It just feels empty. And the truth is, not everyone can go to a stadium or gather a group of friends around the TV. Most often than not, fans watch these games by themselves. And sports are meant to be experienced together. It's the crowd, the energy, the reactions. That's what makes it special. So we thought, what if we could bring the crowd to you? And that's where Livegate comes in. So now, imagine you're watching those same last 10 minutes, and you're in the edge of your seat, and you open Livegate. And now suddenly, you're no longer watching the game alone. You're surrounded by hundreds of people who are reacting to that same play in real time. Now, every time you're watching a game, you're surrounded by a bunch of other people at the same moment having the exact same live experience. That's what Livegate does. Bring the stadium experience to your home. Thank you.
Awesome. Similar feedback. Like, that was good, and it was a story. But an even better, stronger story would be, so I was sitting watching the game, and then my phone buzzed, and it was like, guess what? Everyone's watching this game right now too. Like, open the app right now, and connect with everybody else, and just making it again less of describing it and more of actually just telling the story of doing it. And similarly, like things that you don't have to answer this now, but I was really left wondering, like, okay, how does it know what's going on in the game? How does it feel like I'm part of it? Like, can I hear everybody else? Can I see other people? Like, there was a lot of questions that you could have, again, in describing it, like, would have come out. Cool.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh. I spent the last 9 months working at a sales role here in Austin at a startup. The biggest thing that I learned, honestly, is that the needs of a salesperson are way different from everyone else in the office. Just to paint you a picture, at my startup, we had our own room. It was called the Deal Chamber. It was filled with a putting green, we had couches, Red Bull, nicotine, all the essentials of a salesperson. But the main sort of difference is we had our own needs, right? That's why we were there. We were taking our calls in there. We'd have our monitors up with all of our different platforms that we needed to be using. But it was honestly a waste of time. We're working from 9 to 9 on the phones, handling book consultations. But in between calls, we're hopping from platform to platform. The whole reason we have dual monitors is because we need 3 different websites to get one call to go through the entire pipeline. It really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me that time that could have been used handling a book consultation or an inbound call was spent messing with HubSpot or plugging something into my SaaS dialer that honestly could have all been done in one single platform. That's my idea of Ringlet. Rather than having all different sorts of platforms for every different part of your day as a salesperson, it's all on one dialer. You're calling from this app, you put changes to your necessary fields in this app, and it's the only website you really need to mess with. The key benefit is everyone else on the other side of the office still gets their stuff. They still can use the dashboards from HubSpot. They still can pull in all the specific fields that are necessary for their part of the pipeline, but I get to look at just one screen. A good thing about this is if you think about how it's even set up, SaaS dialers today have a ton of churn. In my 9 months, we flipped from platforms 3 different times, and the reason for that is no one really has it figured out. All of these things have a lot of gaps. People need to jump from platform to platform, like I said, and there's all different sorts of product offerings popping up every few months. That means that there's a niche, which means that I can come in with my idea Ringlet, make sure that we can add to our company's bottom line, and get some more sales. Thank you.
Awesome. So really good job, really good delivery. The story at the beginning was super strong, and then you just totally went back into like describing what it is. So your next thing is like apply the story to the end. Don't tell me about why it's better. Don't tell me that my other salespeople can still use Salesforce. Describe them. Then I walked over to my buddy's desk, and he was still using Salesforce, and he could see the same stuff I did. But, it's just don't describe it. Tell a story of it happening. And these are great, by the way. You guys have improved a lot. These are really good. It looks like we've got 5 more, which is kind of a lot. So like, I'm gonna try to really encourage you to try to stick to the 2-minute time limit so that we can get everybody that's lined up and we'll finish.
Let me begin with a statement that I think most of us in the room will probably agree with. And that statement is that college recruiting right now is very tough for students out there in the US. Let me tell you about my story going through the entire tech IB and tech private equity recruitment cycle last semester, or last year. Essentially, every Sunday at 5 p.m. I would get on my laptop and try to find all the bankers, dozens of bankers that at least had something in common with me, whether it be playing the same sport, going to the same college, same hometown, whatever it might be, and going through Alex, Bob, and so many other bankers. By that time, it's already 6:30 p.m. getting a list together. At that point, I now need to make personalized emails for each and every single person, make sure there are no grammatical errors, and schedule them for 10 a.m. on Monday. I wrote out all those emails. By this time, it's already 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and now Monday comes along. 9 a.m., an email from last Friday of mine said that they're free at the same exact time that I actually put my calendar availability in the previous email on Sunday. So I need to now go back to all my scheduled emails, manually type out my calendar availability back again so that they don't actually pick a wrong time and go through the entire painstaking process that just took too much of my time. And on top of that, manage everything in a very messy spreadsheet that had too many color highlighting. By the end, I got done recruiting. Actually, to streamline this entire process, I built Next Step, a recruitment-focused CRM that actually streamlined my entire process. By using Next Step, I basically gave the platform my resume, my LinkedIn, and my hobbies, and it was able to generate all the people, or find all the people that were ideal candidates for me to reach out to on LinkedIn. So basically, the next week, on Sunday at 5 p.m., it generated those entire emails for me in essentially 30 minutes instead of 3 hours of me spending time doing that. And on top of that, by the third, fourth, fifth week, it was able to manage all those contacts for me, let me know when I should be following up, and just remove the entirety of this process for me. This cut around anywhere between 5 to 7 hours a week of my time instead of emailing every single day, and reduced that to literally 30 minutes to an hour. With Next Step, I was able to take the next step towards my future, and I hope that you will as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was really good, but there was a lot of fluff, especially like how you started, where you were like, hey, I'm gonna tell you a story about my experience. You would have had me if you just started writing on your experience. Get to the pain point. I think you could have taken the excitement up like 30%. I think this kind of applies for everyone. Like, this is a hard lesson to learn, but
the first one had it, right?
First one had it, and then the last guy had it too. Like, immediately, I'm gonna be as stoked as you are. And that's true of the people you want to hire. That's true of the investors. Like, your job is to bring me up to, like, your job is to get me stoked about your product. And if you're not super stoked about your product, I'm not going to be. But if you are, the magic is that, like, most of the time people are going to match your energy. So getting stoked about it, getting yourself excited, and showing that excitement through the pitch is 60-70% of it. And then having a really crisp story to walk me through it is the other 30%. So I feel like you had the story, you could take a little fluff out and then get your excitement another 30%, you would have had it.
Yeah, and I just add to that, you don't have to all show enthusiasm the same way. Like, you don't have to be like super bubbly or like people have different styles, but you do have to be enthusiastic. Like, you have to like be excited about it and happy about it and believe in it, right? And that's what you have to convey. And I think I've mentioned this before. My partner, Gordon Doherty, he has this saying that sales, and this is all sales, it's a transfer of enthusiasm, from like the seller to the buyer, from you to somebody else. Like, you have to like just like Garrett said, you have to get them as excited about it as you. So varying your tone, bringing that into it's part of it. One other really just little nitpicky thing, like part of the story taking part. You can tell you like really worked to put it into a story, but if you were telling a story, you would be like, so at 6 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, or whatever, like I was done, and then I was back Monday morning. Like, it's just like, you would have said something like, so I went to bed and I had my weekend and like, you know what I mean? Like, because you're telling a story. You're not, it was like kind of abrupt, like going right one to the next thing. Next up.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm actually a pre-med student at UT, and I get the honor of volunteering at the emergency department at Dell Seton Hospital. It is literally insane. 8 to 11 p.m., you wouldn't realize the type of crazy stuff that happens. Last week, there was a guy, half his brain was blown out, it was like falling off into the table. He got in immediately. Then there was a guy who fell off this Lime scooter, broken arm. He's wheeling right in. And you'd think, oh, this thing's going so fast. Then I walked around the corner because I triage patients, and the waiting room is full, packed with people. But it's like a guy with a headache, someone's stomach hurts, and the nurses are so frustrated, like, why is this guy? The doc tries to pick between the guy with the headache and the person whose brain is falling out. And I understand. It's hard to see a primary care physician in a timely manner. I was a sick kid, not like sick. I was just like, oh, my nose is running. And my parents couldn't take off of work to just take me to see a primary care physician. Drop-in hours are not always as convenient, so it's difficult to find a primary care physician in a timely manner. And that's the gap I'm trying to fix. I'm calling it a minute clinic in a box. I kind of think of it as an exam room. You kind of step in and you're able to, kind of like a photo booth, you can close the curtain, and you can take your vitals, run quick flu and strep tests, and get an AI-guided triage. If needed, it can connect you to a provider who can give you authorization to basic medications. You can also dispense it at the same time. Unlike a minute clinic, we don't need in-person staff. And unlike telehealth and just rely on what patients say, we actually take into consideration your data. This is healthcare's missing front door, as convenient as a vending machine, but as trusted as your doctor's front office. Thank you.
Great job. A little scripted and a little like, I know you've done great stories before, but like more of the story would be, so it was 2 a.m. and I was really sick, and so I went to go to the urgent care, but they were still already closed. I didn't want to go to the emergency room because last time I went there I had to wait for like 3 hours, and so I went to there was this booth on campus, and it's almost like a phone booth, but I went inside. And so, and again, don't say it could do a strep test. And my throat was really hurting. So I, told it, it asked me, what's wrong with you? And I just said, my throat hurts. And it said, and it walked me through. And then it gets to the point where and then it gave me a strep test. And you can kind of describe doing, tell the story of using it versus describing what it can do.
Hey everyone, my name is Atar, and I am an electrical and computer engineering major. Which, yeah, I know, why would I pick engineering? It's such a hard major. And honestly,
it's awesome.
I kind of agree with that engineering can be a little difficult at times. For example, just this past week, I was struggling so much on my electrical engineering homework, and I really did not know what to do. For example, I did go to my office hours with my professor. It was hosted online though, and it was only 1 hour long. And so by the time it was my turn to ask a question, 45 minutes had passed, and there was no chance that I could ask any more follow-up questions. I went to my office hours with the grad TA, but the problem was that there's just so many people there, and I really couldn't get the questions I wanted answered. And I even called up some of my friends, created a study group, and I remember we were in the PCL. There's papers and pencils all over the table. We were struggling so much. We checked the time. It's 11:58, and we just barely submitted it before the 11:59 deadline. And things are just not working out. And while we were struggling engineers, we did know some basic math. And that homework that should have taken about 6 or 7 hours was taking about 13 or 15 hours. And it was just very painful, it was very frustrating, and it was overall just not a really good experience for us. And I think as students, we can all agree to this, we can all relate to this, in that we want to learn, we're generally interested in the topics, but we don't always get that personalized experience that we want to get our questions answered. But then a lot of that kind of changed when we met Derek. Now, Derek was another star student in our class, and when we were going to the PCL to study, we always saw him with his friends, football and volleyball in his hands, going to play some sports with his friends. When we were putting up some lo-fi grind set music, we see on Instagram that he would be posting about his adventures around Austin. And so we were generally really curious as to how was he able to do all these things and yet maintain really good grades. And then that's kind of what he told us about Board Buddy. Now, the way Board Buddy works is it's an AI whiteboard, and you can upload text, you can draw on there, you can put images on there, and you can even speak to it. And so, for example, we uploaded a picture of our complex circuit, and then we asked it, what exactly does this resistor in the circuit do? And we also drew some equations. And what happened, it was like magic. It wrote some equations back to us, it explained what exactly a resistor, what its role was in the circuit, and we walked out feeling very confident in the work, and we actually understood what was happening. And so, remember that as we're studying, I think study groups are pretty underrated. You should definitely use those. But also, two, realize that Things would be so much easier if you had a smart whiteboard where you could ask it all the questions in the world and get all the answers that you wanted. Because every great idea deserves a buddy on board. Thank you.
So I think we have time for one more. If you don't mind, I think, is there one of you has not pitched before? Okay, let's just do who hasn't pitched before. Why not?
Hello everyone, my name is Jonas Sotelo, and today I want to talk to you about my brother, Dr. Christian Sotelo. I lived with my brother before college, and I remember the nights when he would come home from work and he would tell me incredible stories about how he saved patient lives. Unfortunately, I also remember when he would come home from work and he would tell me things that he hated about his job. He hated feeling like a secretary, and he hated not having enough time with his patients. My brother is not alone. The average family medicine doctor spends 44% of their workday on secretarial tasks, like responding to patient messages or writing notes. The average primary care doc also spends 10 minutes speaking with their patient. That's 10 minutes to provide a year's long worth of updates. This is driving the best doctors out of the profession, it's hurting our patients, and this is not okay. That's why I'm building an accessible app that improves patient-doc communication and reduces doctor burnout. My app transcribes patient-doc conversations and adds them to electronic health records more affordably than Epic's tool. My app also logs patient metrics, events, and questions that the doctor reads right before walking through the door. That way the doctor can spend more time building relationships without feeling rushed. People like my brother need this app. With your help, I know we can reduce their burnout, and I know they can keep saving lives. Thank you.
Awesome. Can you do this one?
Yeah, love the opening. Like, made it personal. I was instantly interested. You kind of gave yourself like, you're not a doctor, but you're near a doctor. You live with the doctor. Like, I'm like, okay, this guy really understands the problem. Having the beginning lost me a little in the middle, and it was not really the content. It just like you lost the story narrative. Really, really, really tough to hold, especially like, even if you have like, as you get farther along in the entrepreneur journey, even if you have like 30 minutes with an investor, it's just like, you are one meeting they have with like, they have 15 meetings that day, and it's so tough to hold someone's attention. So I think it's something you'll own. Like, you clearly have that gift of being able to like, share your excitement. I really trusted you. You explained it really well, and I thought you closed really well as well.
Thank you. Awesome. Good job.
Appreciate it.
All right. So let's go, I think, back one slide. Awesome. So we are on class number 3. No, you said.
Wait, also, sorry, if you guys are demoing today, could I have you line up here? We're also going to have students that haven't demoed yet go first.
Yeah, good. Everyone's welcome to, but in case we're living on time, let's let Dawn go first. Yeah, you stay. All right, class number 4. Really excited how things are going. Thought those pitches were great. Today we've got Garrett here with us. I'm excited to introduce him in just a minute. Next week we've got Jason Cohen coming. Jason's the founder of WP Engine, which is a really great company here in town. That's one of my favorite companies. Also Smart Bear Software. Both of those are unicorns, I think. And he's a very technical founder, very big, knows how to program, but also really good at marketing. Has a great blog you can go check out. The blog is asmartbear.com. It's kind of funny. I don't know why, but if anyone's going to mix up my name from Josh, they call me Jason. And for some reason, and because his thing has bear in it, a lot of people think that I wrote his blog and come up to me and they're like, "I love your writing. It's so good." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's great." And they talk about his blog. But anyway, but Jason's really great. Excited to have him here. Blake, I mentioned, founder of Aceable, Driver's Ed. So we've got a great lineup. Lots of good people coming in. It's going to be a great semester. But Garrett has an amazing company. I think they're kind of pivoting right now, so I have no idea what he's going to pitch exactly. But it's something I've been excited about and tracking for quite a while. And he's a really awesome entrepreneur, both and a great builder. He's got a really cool workshop where they're always like welding things and cutting things and building robots and all kinds of other cool stuff like that. and Capital Factory's an investor. So I was really excited to have him come today, and we're going to get to hear about he'll give his pitch and show a demo after we get to see all your demos. So now we're going to do these demos. So the instructions were to make a Slack app, clone Slack. It was pretty open-ended. I didn't expect you to clone every feature of Slack, but who knows what you guys got done. And so we're going to get through as many demos as we can where you can kind of show it off. I guess it would be helpful if we're demoing it to have like a few windows open, so you might be able to be logged in as like 2 or 3 different people, so you can like close from one and see it show up in the other, I'm guessing, or things like that. You might have other ways. So we'll kind of see how this goes. And I'll ask some questions, and Garrett will ask some questions, but if you guys have questions too, raise your hands as well. All right? Let's go.
All right. Hi, my name's
Can you make it bigger too? Like, this is, yep, that.
Alright, yeah, my name's Nishan Grani. I use Lovable to create this. It'll just be like a quick sign up. So let's say if I was Josh, I'd create I'll do this, and then I have a temp mail just to sign up. Okay, cool. Sorry. And then we can just create a normal account here. This is kind of how you can just create an account. It will send an email confirmation so that you can confirm all that loads. It should take a second. But over here, this is another account that I have set up. Let's say I just want to create startup seminar. It creates a workspace flow that you can create a workspace and invite other people. Over here, it has authentication for your sign up. And let's say I want to join that workspace that I just created. I can join that workspace. There's a little, if I just refresh the page, just add in the workspace here. For example, if I'm typing in this section, it'll show that Nishan is typing. If I'm typing over here, it'll show that Josh is typing. And it has live message and activity features. If I want to actually start a message with a direct message, I can do that here, and that will show up as well. So if I select this over here, I can see that it shows up over here as well. And then I can also submit files. Let's say this is some article that I was doing with class, using for a class. It's uploading the file. This is all connected with a super-based backend that will help me implement. Something like that, and it shows up over here as well, where I can actually download this file. And
This is awesome. Okay, so did you completely start this since last week?
I kind of started 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Okay, so you hadn't worked on any of this before. And did you download anything where somebody had already built a Slack clone or something, like Slack clone? This is all from scratch?
This is all from scratch, from just going back.
Kind of level what you're gonna do.
Yeah. So,
Well, I had no idea. Honestly, this is the first one we're seeing, and I had no idea what to expect. But I'm super impressed. That looks like Slack to me. I'm sure that does, there's more features and stuff, but uploading files and the activity, and even when you, and the workflow and everything, I think that's pretty cool. Gary, you got any comments?
Yeah, this is sick. I love the when it's uploading the little clip spins. That's sick. Something that's a little helpful, especially in Lovable, but true of Cursor and all the others, is I don't know why AI has such a hard time with, if you go back to dark mode, it's such a hard time with high contrast text. You look up there in your welcome to general channel. That is the #1 Lovable knowledge base or Cursor rules thing that I add is make sure you use high contrast text, because it puts low contrast text everywhere and you gotta dig in and find everything. But it was sick. Man, this is dope. 2 days of work. That's insane. Great work.
Thumbs up. Good job. All right. Give him a clap. Another advantage of going first.
high bar.
Well, yeah, there's no bar.
Hi, I'm Vincent, and this is my Slack clone. Okay. So, this is like a basic Slack login page. I can sign up with the display name, email, password. I already have an account, so I'm just gonna log in here. And so I'm in. And so my current profile is Daniel. And so I'm in here, I can see all my channels. I can see this mock channel I made with 2 other people. John, Cat Factory, they're right here. They're logged in over here. And this would be John. So one of the features I implemented was complete like AI automations within this. So if I put a slash here, I can get a slash summary, slash task, and slash help. If I do slash summary, I can specify how many messages I want previous. It'll completely summarize that and give that as like a nice UI. So we're gonna demo that right here. It's launching the agent. And then in a few seconds, I can refresh and I'll pop up with that system. So I'm just gonna refresh real quick, go to MVP demo. And right here, there's an entire summary of the context from everything that's been in the chat, what tasks are delegated to each person in that chat, and then who's responsible for delivering what. So this is really useful if you're like ever inundated with a bunch of messages. You just do a single slash, boom, you get all your summary. And then also there's another slash feature called slash task. And this is just going to create an entire checklist from A to B, ranked by priority, what you need to get done as quickly as possible. And in addition to those features, I have like DMs. You can direct message anyone. Same features apply here. You can do the slash method, and you can have all your agentic features here. And in the future, I'm planning on implementing the feature where it's called agent mode. You just leave it, and then it'll answer all the DMs for you. Anyone asks you, it'll answer for you, all directed by a chat model in the back. Thank you.
Awesome. Great job. That was really cool. It's interesting because at first glance, I'm sure if I looked for details, there'd be I'm sure there'd be more to notice, but it looks really similar to the other ones. I don't think that means anything. I don't think you like copied it or anything. I just think it's probably because you told it to look like Slack. But fascinating that that they're like that. But great job. Just curious, raise your hand if you used Lovable. 3, and there were a couple more. And then what, 4, 5, and then what about Replit? Maybe 10, 12 Replits.
Hi, my name's Shivansh. This is my Slack clone. There's a sign up page. I'm just going to sign in since I already created an account. And I'll try to split the tabs in a little bit to show how users can see messages from other users. So here's what I have here. I already entered in some messages. I have another account logged in. So this one is Steve that I just logged in, and Mary's on this side. So let's say if Mary enters a message, hi, how's it going? No, she already said that. But it pops up automatically in real time and updates. You can also change your avatar. Oh, it's not working.
Yeah,
You can try the US.
it was up there.
And so I can change the avatar also. Were you guys able to see like the login, the sending a message? Okay, great. All right, I can choose a new image. Let me just choose this one, Arthur. And so that updates here, and then on the other end, it also updates for Mary. So she's able to see Steve's new updated message. You can also add emojis, which are like one of my favorite parts of Slack. You can add the party emoji that also shows up on the other side, as you can see here, and then reply in threads that works as well. So if I just reply hey here, you can see there's one reply here in the box, and I can also see it here with the replies if I open that tab a little bit more. And then there's other stuff like background changes, and you can change what chat, you can DM people and it shows up as a notification, and you can add pins, and then when you add a pin, the other user sees it as well, and then they can unpin it if they want. So it's a majority of my features.
What did you use?
I use Cursor.
You use Cursor for this?
Yeah.
Great. And so like as you were building this, how much like you take as just an example the emoji, like when you started building it, did you have to specifically tell it to add the emoji? Like did it add the emoji? Like what things did you have to go just really focus on versus what it kind of just did on its own when you told it to clone Slack?
So I actually started with Replit, and I thought that was going to go well, but I definitely had some issues with that. I tried building a Slack clone itself. It didn't have emojis, pins, threads, or anything. So I tried adding an account with ChatGPT, and then Cursor is free for students for a year. And I tried ChatGPT's like build me a Slack clone, and it actually did. It built a React component, and it was harder to iterate on, but had a lot more features at first than I found. And so I ported that over to Cursor. And so that one already had some emoji stuff working, but Cursor really helped me like do it with the database. That way both users can see what's going on. And so after that, I was just able to go one by one and do everything, and it worked under the free plan for students.
Awesome. Really great job. That was great.
Thanks.
What's up, Jim?
What's up? This is cool.
This is my RUT class, and it's the new version we're doing this semester, and their assignment last week was clone Slack.
This is cool. I heard somebody built one in like 2 days.
Yep. Well, nobody starts their homework the week, like the day you assign it. There were quite a few questions yesterday, like, okay, so like, what are the rules?
Did anyone use anything other than like what Bolt, Cursor, Replit? Would you use?
I use Jira.
Oh, nice. How'd it go?
So I try to give myself enough time, but I like Jira.
Nice.
Yeah, I build other stuff, but it's pretty cool.
Oh, sick. Anyone else?
I use Smart AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. In the terminal?
Oh, yeah. What is it?
No, I was just,
Is it harder? So, again, this is the first time I've ever coded, so.
I think it's tough, especially with like Cursor or Claude, any like the terminal heavy ones that you can connect. It's tough to get that design locked in early with those. You kind of got to iterate on the design, so. Not me. It's sweet.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and jump in. I'm Tanner, and I thought since you left it pretty open-ended, I'd try something a little different. So I built Slack with a lot of emphasis on keeping it looking exactly like the actual mobile app, but I built it with a little twist so that it's actually to help you learn languages. So one of the problems I have is like, when I'm trying to learn a language, a lot of it is through conversation. That's how you truly learn. But it's hard to find people to talk with, so I thought we could use kind of the platform of Slack to connect you with an AI that could talk back and forth with you in a language so you could practice. So I'll show you the video because it's on my phone, so it's a little hard to show. But again, heavy focus on visuals, so I try to make it look like exactly like the Slack app. I had it up and was comparing the two. Even down to like
that caused a lot of
scroll.
iteration. You have to be like, oh, go change this, go change this.
Oh yeah, the design I would say was the hardest part of trying to use. I use Cursor, so. But like here you can see a conversation I'd already made, and I think I'm about to create a conversation. So, or first I create a persona, and it's basically you're creating a persona that you could talk back and forth with. You can pick some characteristics, kind of, yeah, what they're gonna act like. And then once you create that, you can create a conversation and you choose one of the personas you already have. Kind of explain the situation you're in. Maybe you're, like, I think this one is saying hi to a family member you haven't seen in a while, so the conversation you have will kind of be based on that.
I don't know if you guys ever saw, there was someone made a social network where you would post stuff and only AIs would respond to you, and they would just be like, "You're so awesome!" Like it would just like totally prop you up and like kind of like, but like make it sound kind of real. And this sounds kind of like that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That sounds awesome. And then here is just like me sending first message. Pardon my Spanish, it's terrible. And then the AI is gonna come up with a response in Spanish and send it back. And you'll notice that I think it's after this next message that I send that one of the characteristics I picked for the persona was sleepy. So when I send that, I can't read the Spanish, but I think I see a sleepy emoji, so I'm gonna assume that means that, yeah, I took that into account. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Great job.
You get a thumbs up. I like the translation and the little personalities built in. And to like make it look exactly like Slack if you can.
Yeah, great design.
Yeah, if you get one thumbs up,
Hello, I'm Chris. I made my Slack clone using the Git repo that Eric posted, so it's like pretty basic. I made it all locally. So
Starting with what Eric said is always a good idea.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Lovable had like you could put all those features so easily. So I kind of just stuck what I was used to, is like making it locally. So you can sign in with GitHub, and you can also sign in normally. I just use my GitHub because it's easy, and it's kind of slow. Like the Streamlit doesn't allow like auto refresh. Doesn't like auto refresh for you, so you have to like manually refresh. So I had it logged in my phone with this other account, like the CD394. So I can just send a message here. Send hi again. I can reload. I have to refresh it each time.
That's
because
good.
of that. So, this is the group chat, by the way. So you actually have to go to DMs. You can select them here with like friends. Click DM. This new one. Post it. Press refresh. Maybe not sent actually. It just, it's pretty limited by the by just like Streamlit and everything, I realize. And you can also just like upload photos for like new profile pictures as well. I didn't really try to integrate because it seemed like the more and more I try to add with just chat GPT, the more complex it got, and like the more time it spent just generating the files. So I was like, is it worth just trying to go through it? That's why in hindsight, I realized I should have used just like Cursor or something else to like read the whole code base and be like, okay, you need to do this, because coming from like as a CS major, I just kind of like started off where I usually do like code in the Git repo, and it's like if I really needed to do something, be like, chat, you just tell me what I need to do here instead of just adopting Cursor or something. So yeah, for the actual message like functionality, I have some other friends I like try this out with and stuff, and yeah, so I just posted. It takes a second to actually post and stuff. So yeah, I just have all those features, and it just changed my profile picture. So
Awesome. Great job. Really good. All right. Those are all our demos for today. I am super impressed. Those were great. And so part of this for me, we haven't done this before, so we've been building in complexity. The first week they built just a GPT. The next week they built an agent that would look at their calendar, their email, and kind of like help prep them for their assignments. And this is the third week, which was Go Clone ChatGPT, Go Clone Slack. Yeah, I'm really impressed. It looks like, and look, we have a lot of different kids in the class who are in different majors, who are at different points with what they're doing. And so that's okay. Like some people are gonna be like, I'm jumping into Cursor and Claude, and I'm like, going and building, like something maybe a little bit more in depth. And other people might be just trying Lovable for the first time, and and building something that might look a little bit simpler, but still is a great accomplishment. It really shows. Like my goal with this, hopefully this class, is just have you walk away feeling like I can take some idea and I can like turn it into something and like show it to people and like really learn from it. So that was really impressive. I think you guys are doing great. We have to get I do have a $100 bill still for the which goes to the best pitch, which definitely was the first one. It was great. Good job. So here we go. Benjamin. Next, I've already given a brief intro. I'm going to invite up Garrett from Pipe Dream, and he's going to tell you put the pitch for Pipe Dream, I think, and maybe show us some stuff, and then you guys can talk to him. He's got a really interesting story. What they're doing is super cool. So, Garrett, thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'll take a walk on that. That'd be sick. Thank you guys so much for having me. I got so stoked listening to y'all's pitches and what you guys built. Got me stoked to go build. So thank you for that. So hopefully I give back to you guys what you guys gave me just there. But this is sick. You guys I cannot push this on you guys enough. You guys are so lucky. I'm like a little bit jealous. You're at every single person in the world has exactly as much knowledge about the future as you, which is not always true, right? Usually what you have as you're coming out of college is time and energy, and then other people have experience. And that's kind of the battle. And you can always win, right? You can win with time and energy and being curious and getting an edge. But what just changed is no one has any experience. I mean, there's a little bit, but every single thing in the entire world is different. And no one has experience on where it's going to go. And so you are at exactly the same amount of knowledge and wisdom as everyone else, and you have more time and energy, you're more curious. It's sick. This is the sickest time to be interested in entrepreneurism, be graduating. So congrats on being interested in entrepreneurism. I think that's half the battle. So congratulations. So my name is Garrett. I'm the co-founder of Pipe Dream. I'm a mechanical engineer. And walk with me a little bit to the year 2030. I am hosting a dinner party at 5 o'clock. It is 4:45, and I haven't done any work. But I'm not stressed at all, because I've got a magic drawer in my kitchen. And my magic drawer can get me anything I want in the next 5 minutes for no cost. And I can send things back through that magic drawer if I don't want them. So I have 15 minutes for the dinner party. People are going to come. I'm not stressed at all. I'm gonna make baked chicken. That's a 10-minute meal. I already talked to my AI. We can make that super easy. So I hit order on my phone, and my ingredients are coming. Exactly proportioned in the way that I need them. The exact amount of chicken breast, the exact amount of seasoning, the exact amount of veggies. I know I've got that ready to go. So now I need something to wear. I've got, a closet full of clothes, but there's a girl I'm trying to impress, and I want to wear something extra special. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna order AI, give me 10 options. And so, the clothes are on their way. I know they're gonna get here in the next 10 minutes. I'm not worried about it. What else do I need? The place really isn't decorated. There's nothing. I wanted to have a theme. So I'm like, all right, AI, give me a theme and send me some decorations. It's on its way. It's coming in the next 5 minutes. And so I go to my magic drawer. I pull out the decorations. I decorate the place. I pull out the ingredients. I start making everything. And right before everyone gets there, I have 10 shirt options. I'm looking through them. Okay, that one looks good. Put it on. It's a little big. I'm gonna put that one back in my magic drawer. I'm gonna grab this one. That's perfect. The people get there, someone's vegetarian. That's on me. I should have checked before I ordered the chicken breast. No worries. In the next 5 minutes, vegetarian meal on its way. We want to play a game. What do you guys want to play? I have everything because of my magic drawer. Whatever game you want, I'm going to have it sent here. We're going to play it, and we'll play another game because we're just going to send those games back. No worries. It doesn't really even cost me anything. I have a game subscription in my magic drawer. This magic drawer saved the day. I could go on and on. I'm going to keep using this magic drawer 10, 20, 30 more times to the dinner party. And the next day I'm going to use it another 30, 40 times. Because I can get anything delivered in the next 5 minutes for such a low cost, I don't even think about it. When I'm done with those items, I can send them back. The magic drawer is dope. That is, at some point in the far distant future, that is where we're going to end up in terms of logistics. That's where everything's headed, right? In the same way that data transmits from your phone, real time in, real time out, that's where objects are going to get. We at Pipe Dream think it's not that far in the future. We think autonomous logistics can get us there. Drones, self-driving cars, sidewalk robots. The problem is that there is a missing modality in order to make it high volume enough and cheap enough to actually work like a magic drawer in your home. And so we looked at a lot of options, and what we realized is that cities already have infrastructure that move things around cities so cheap we don't even think about it. When you flush the toilet, you are sending your poop on a magical journey. It goes through the whole city, and the toilet doesn't charge you a single dollar for that. It's free. You can deliver poop from anywhere in the city. It's basically a magic door for one delivery item, just your poop. And that's we started to think about that. It's kind of like a ridiculous thing to think, but it was like, you know what? Actually, there is a great model for putting these pipes through a city, connecting them to buildings, retrofitting them. Maybe that can work for things. Maybe we can use robotics to turn those pipes into object delivery mechanisms. And so when we ran the numbers, we realized it really is that cheap. We have put so much science into being able to put underground pipes in the last decade that it has gotten crazy cheap to put in. For about $1 million a mile, you can put in underground infrastructure to move things through cities, which sounds like a lot at first, but when you think about it, it costs about $25 million to build a Walmart. And so for the cost of 3 Walmarts, you can build a whole citywide system to deliver things. If you think about Amazon can get you things later that day. You know, quickest it's like 4 or 5 hours. That's kind of like the max they can do. $2 trillion company. DoorDash can get you food in the next 30 minutes if you pay an extra $12. You know, $60 billion company. Instacart does that for one vertical. Actually, I don't know the market cap. 30 billion. It's billions and billions for the Instacart market cap. We're building a system to do that for everything. Get consistent $5 delivery for everything. We think it can be one of the biggest companies in the world. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to give you guys a little bit about how we're doing that, but that is the quick and dirty pitch. As a teaser, this is our head of engineering. I don't know if it's in there. He did a kickflip in the pipe, which is dope. That's just a teaser. So yeah, our goal is to make 15-minute delivery a reality for everything and everyone. Make it so cheap that you don't even think about getting a delivery because it's as close to free as possible. That's going to be really hard. You basically do have to build the Internet of Atoms to make that work. So our job is to build underground infrastructure to connect supply and demand with pipes. I'm just going to flip through this super quick. So these are the pipes that we put in. We've sized up since then. We put in a mile in a city in Georgia. Our pipes are a little bit bigger now, but it's basically the same thing. And then we use these little robots here. That little white guy is one of our robots, but they carry things through the network at 100 miles an hour. It's about a half a cent a delivery for us. So once you've paid off the pipe infrastructure, we think you can get really, really, really close to free delivery. These are our portals. It's a modular component. We can build a whole bunch of different types of portals with basically the same infrastructure. This one is one that hands out the order to you, so it's for like driving up in a car. It's pretty cool, but we can build a whole bunch of different ones. It took us a lot of iteration. My bad. Took a bit. We started in that shed that you saw in the front. That's when Josh invested. He invested in the shed days. So you really don't need much. You really just need someone to believe in you. And luckily, we did have Josh who believed in us. So that went a long way. Because this whole time, to this day, a lot of people don't think we can do it. So to have Josh in our corner in the shed days, that went a long way. So iterated a bunch. Took a lot on this is like infrastructure that had never even been tried before. So we had to learn a lot of lessons. We moved from using the pipe as the static modality that you run the wheels on to realizing that you do need a track. So learning just like a ton of lessons. Like those wheels right there actually do conduct electricity as you move along the track. We did not realize them until we rented a whole bunch, and robots would just die out of nowhere. And so we had to invent conductive wheels in order to get that static electricity to go through the rails. A million lessons. We had to invent a magnetic suspension to keep everything still. You don't want like a bunch of shaking and vibrating as your things are going 100 miles an hour through a pipe. That was super hard. And then this is, let me see, I'm just gonna switch through here. Yeah, and it all kind of ended up with this robot. This robot goes 100 miles an hour. It's super fast. It's fully autonomous. does all its own sensing, uses sound to communicate through the pipes to other robots, so it works on a mesh network. We were able to, one of the ways that we were able to apply it was we had this infrastructure that's really easy to move things from one place to another. So we automated pickups for stores and restaurants, which was a great business, still is. I love that business. We launched it. We immediately got interest from like Walmart, Amazon, DoorDash, Uber Eats, a bunch of restaurants. Got 104 pre-orders, which is like for a hard tech company, it's like everything. We went and we put one in. That's what it looks like. Super easy to install because we made the construction process for citywide. And then we realized like, okay, it is a little too successful. People are really pigeonholing us into this is the thing that we do. And especially our customers, the Walmart and Amazons of the world, we're like, okay, you guys go do that, and then when you guys conquer that, let's talk about citywide. And we're like, no, we gotta do citywide ASAP. Like, this technology is ready. We can do this today. So instead of just focusing on that, this is us putting in one of the instant pickups in Arlington. This took about 3 days. Everyone told us it would take us 6 to 8 weeks, and it didn't. So we could not find a construction crew that would quote us anything lower than 6 to 8 weeks. So we just did it ourselves, which you got to do sometimes. And then this is what it looks like on the other side. So that's the portal, that's it coming out, and then it hands off to the driver, 15-second pickup. And our vision is putting these all over the city, both for people to come pick up and to use as delivery nodes, and then keep scaling that until there's a connection in every home, in every business, and every supply side node, like warehouses and restaurants. And then this is our network in Austin. So we just started, let's see, I'm gonna skip ahead to, that is where I came from today. We're putting the first portals in here in Austin, a little north of campus. And then hopefully in the next couple months start construction to do our first big loop, getting really, really close to campus. Fingers crossed. So that's what we do.
One more time.
Sweet.
All right, questions for Garrett?
Do I get a thumbs up? We'll see. Okay, I won't push for it. Hit me.
What's like your background? Like, what made you want to tackle such a big issue with there's so many things involved?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't have a background in logistics. I do have a deep love of logistics. What I really was looking at is I'm just a person who loves grinding on something for a really long time. And the harder the problem, the better. I really like hard puzzles. And I was reading kind of about the greats and the Elons, the Jeff Bezos of the world. And they focused on solving one problem for a really long time. And what I kind of saw the pattern is people who focus on one problem, not one solution, they focus on one problem for a really long time, usually are successful, especially when they're early in that problem. And so I've been doing a lot of stuff. I was going to do a demo of some of the other stuff I built. I love software too. And I especially love building software really quickly. So I love building an AI. It's the sickest. But I was it wasn't fulfilling. And I was I really need to find that thing that I can go work on for the next 10 years of my life. So I took a break from software. I went in, worked at another startup doing biz dev. I was all right, I'm gonna give myself 2 years to figure out what is the thing that I'm gonna do for the next 10 years of my life. What is the problem so big and I'm so early on that I can just really sink my teeth into and grind at. Looked at a lot of things, and autonomous logistics, to me, to this day, I still can't believe it, relative to the amount of impact it's going to have in the world, is so under-resourced. There are barely any companies working on it. You have the Zipline, Wing, you have the sidewalk robot companies, and that's pretty much it. And so we were just looking at, okay, autonomous logistics, I believe is going to be maybe bigger than AI. I believe that to this day. I think it would be, you look at how big retail and the movement of things is, and then this is the final chapter of that. It's really getting it down to as fast and as cheap as possible to move things in to the last mile logistics. And so it's just I need to figure out what is the thing that is not being built right now that's going to be needed, in 2030, And that's the thing I'm gonna go build. So it took talking to a bunch of people, understanding logistics, I had to learn a lot, but I gave myself the time to really like figure that out. And it's kind of from a first principles process that we ended up like, that was the thing that no one was building. A couple other people, after we started, realized how hard it was and got out. So it is hard. It takes a lot of work to do. But like, you know, I'm 3.5 years in, I'm good for another 6.5, maybe another 16.5. Like, I'm gonna keep working on this.
I noticed you, during the Slack project, you were talking about the hack contract.
Yeah.
And then in the interview, you also said something about speed, just think about user experience. I was like, you have a user focus. How do you develop that user experience focus?
You know, it's a good question. I just love user experiences. Like, I love, as AI takes all the technical problems away, I really think there's just gonna be great experiences. There's gonna be craft experience. I think the world is, it needs so many more craft experiences. And I think like, if you're trying to rise above, like you look at Slack, like everyone was making the same Slack because there really is just like one Slack to make. There is kind of an efficient Slack. And like, AI is so built to give you exactly that kind of like scaffolded perfect Slack, and it's just gonna get better. In 4 or 5 years from now, you're gonna be like, make me Slack, and it's gonna do it, and it'll be perfect. And then like, what else is there left to build? I think a ton. I think Slack is kind of a bad experience, right? Like, who is like, hey, my team chat experience gives me joy every time I pick it up? Like, none, right? Like, but what it means is that once it becomes so easy to make software, it gives you the chance to say, how do I make an experience so good that every time someone picks up team chat, they're like, I'm so excited to talk to my team. This product rocks. It is the best. It gives me joy every single time. And that's something that we just like, if you can make something work and you can make it just an absolute joy to use, that's all you need. And so we really focus on bringing people onto the team that have the qualities of like really good technically, very competent, but just love serving people and creating those joyful experiences. So everyone, if you come to Pipedream, like you'll see like everyone is like kind of an artist in some way. They're like good at creating joy, like, and it's just like you see it in the product, like super important for the robot looks like a missile so easy. It's like really hard not to make that thing look like it's gonna just like destroy something. That is just the way that aerodynamics forces robots going through a pipe to look, because it looks like a missile. But team did a really good job of saying like, how do we not sacrifice in aerodynamics, but make it look like a cute little guy doing his job that people like, yeah, I want that guy to have a job. That's sick. Same thing with the portal. Like the portal's like a really hard design problem because it's like you want the portal to look like something you drive up to, so it took a lot of iteration. We had some really cool, a lot of cooler designs that when you drove your car up, it just didn't feel like something you should grab out of. But we were able to, this looks just like a window. It looks like almost like an ATM. It's really friendly to come up to, and you know in your head how to get close to it without hitting it. That was really the key. So it's like a really easy, comfortable experience for people. And then we were able to add Z-height adjustability so that it comes right next to the edge of the window and like comes out. So it's just like the easiest grab. We wanted to say like if like a grandma T-Rex was driving, like could she grab perfect? So like that was the key. Yeah, I think it's like, you know, you put people around you that also care about great experiences, and you just kind of like naturally reinforce each other. And I think it's like if you can make something that works and it's a joy to use, you almost can't lose. Ooh, yeah, that's a great question.
For that question, it sounds like, wait, you're gonna dig pipes like through the city?
Yeah.
Like that sounds impossible,
yeah.
Right? Like we don't dig pipes.
We put some pipes in.
Okay.
So yeah, it really comes from a like, there's two approaches that we come at it from. So anytime we're doing anything, we look at it from a first principles approach, right? So when we were doing this construction that put this in, we said, okay, what tools are needed to do this job? and how long does it take to run those tools for our project? And then that gives us a spreadsheet that's like our most efficient schedule. The most efficient schedule is like 9 hours. Like, okay, that is most efficient. Now, you're not going to hit 9 hours. But like, you know, a little scheduling mishap, a little off, like it should be like 18, like double that, right? And then people in construction were giving us 6 to 8 weeks. And we'd be like, where does this even come from? They're like, hey, that's just how it is. That's how construction is. And it's like, okay, we know from the fact that we have this spreadsheet that tells us otherwise. In construction and like city regulation, those are both two industries that exist off people telling you that they know better than you. And we have found that it's so rare that someone does. That especially like you're armed with AI, like AI knows everything. Ask AI. On construction and regulation, you really have to dig into AI and force it to think from first principles. But with construction, like I'll give an example. We started construction here in Austin this week. And the first guy who came and was running, he was the foreman for the job, he said, hey, we ran into a bump. We don't have our GC license with Austin. We're gonna have to like apply for it. It's gonna take 3 days. And for us, it's like, okay, that's gonna be off schedule. You know, we've learned never accept someone's, what they're saying as like true. Because they have, I don't even know where these perverse incentives come from. They have to be perverse at some point. We cannot figure out where it comes from. But we're like, okay, we're gonna go double check. So our head of construction and civil immediately just went, and the guy had said it takes 3 days to get your civil, your GC license in Austin. She had her GC license in 30 minutes. And then she went, and she's like, okay, I have a GC license. Now we're back on schedule. And so she's the one who actually pulled the permit. And the guy's like 3 days was just out of nowhere. But they said it so confidently and so like looked down on us like, you guys don't know, it takes 3 days. That just is what it is. We gotta, so it's like that compounding is just like, anytime anyone tells you something, like digging into it, making sure that it's true, takes a ton of slack out of the system. And so that's really helped us on the regulatory side. That's helped us on the construction side. Just really trying to find what is that actual truth, and then never letting anyone kind of shake you off of that, like what the truth is.
Yeah, I'll just add, like there's, you know, frequently I'll ask for something and someone on my team will come back to me with an answer I don't like. And I'm just like, no, like that's not go get a better answer. Like tell them that's not acceptable. Like whatever they just told you, no. Like, and they come back with a better answer, you know, or.
Yeah, and like reinforcing that in your team is like, that is how you build a killer organization is, you know, you all as a team say, we are never going to accept what someone says as an answer. We're going to dig into it and find it out ourselves. And if it just happens to be true, which it rarely is, immediately red flag goes off, we're digging into it. And it almost always is like a million times easier than what they say, so.
Oh, like hard tech is a lot harder to get like an MVP going versus just like a SaaS product. So like, what was like the initial process for y'all to like build like a demo or something to pitch to like get them money to like start building?
Great question. So it was tough. We built some like scale models. So, like the very first thing I did was I went and just put like small pipe in just like some field in the middle of nowhere, and then ran like a tennis ball canister robot through it, just as kind of like a visualization. We had a rule early on that I think was good at the time, but I think it was bad. We had a no render rule. We said no renders. We're gonna do everything real. And I think that was bad. Like renders in hard tech are such a good storytelling mechanism to show someone what something will eventually look like. That if you can back that up with like, you take pieces of that and like you can build pieces of it really quickly. Like we can turn designs around in, you know, a couple days. It's not exactly what it will be in production, but it's enough to just kind of show that you're making progress. I think that's the key, is just being really good at showing people what the future will look like, being really good at explaining how simple it is. So whatever your thing is, being able to go really deep into each subcomponent and just showing like this, the reason that we know we can hit this is because of this. And so much exists now that a lot of hard tech is usually putting Lego pieces together. The very few things in our robot did we actually like design. Like a lot of it's just putting Lego pieces together. So I found a lot of showing people how we could do it is just showing them like, hey, this thing exists. This is a proxy. We're gonna go and grab that. We're gonna go grab the person who's really smart at that. They'll be able to make that. And then if we're able to make, put all these pieces together, here's the financials of how that's going to turn out. That was the key. And then like at a certain level, like investors are betting on your ability to go put all those pieces together. And then, survive the bumps and waves that happen as you go along, which do happen. The pivot that Josh was talking about is when we were doing citywide, like we need an anchor tenant. We have to have someone who's going to anchor the network. And we built a relationship with Walmart, Amazon. I mean, we are so deep with those companies. I've met Jeff Bezos multiple times. This is sick, but it was just like I could not describe how deep we are with them. And they were just like, oh, I really don't want to be first. And so it's like, all right, we're gonna have to like go figure out how to be our own anchor tenant, be first. And we built this great concept that we're launching in 45 days now. That will be the anchor tenant. I think it's gonna be a really strong anchor tenant. But in just doing that, it got Walmart and Amazon to come over and doing a lot of great work with them now. So.
With this new pool that y'all installed at the location, how much more in like customers or revenue or efficient did the restaurant get just by installing that compared to their old drive-through mechanism?
Yeah, great question. So it's early days, but I think Chipotle is the one that has the biggest rollout of something like this and has been in for a long time, and we're tracking against that growth metric. But if they add pickup that can happen within 20 seconds at one of their locations, they add 40% of revenue onto that location. So in theory, we need some more time to get there. But pickup, especially really fast pickup, is great for growth.
So this kind of reminds me of Hyperloop technology, like the boarding company and stuff like that. So have you considered expanding into instead of just aisle transportation, also people?
Yeah, not really. We're fighting a really tight game. There's a really tight algorithm that we're trying to solve. It is, what is the cheapest cost per linear foot of construction that you need to be able to send 99.9% of things through. And everything is optimized around that. So that's why we went from 18 to 24 to capture that we were at 97% of Amazon's volume, and now we're at 99.88, with moving up an extra 6 inches. That was an expensive 6 inches. The way that you put in these pipes is through horizontal directional drills. So it's super easy to do, but if you lose the ability to use horizontal directional drills, it starts to get really expensive. So you gotta use these building methods that are designed for small pipes. So 24 inches, and then if you look at the robot in that pipe, it is taking up pretty much the whole thing. And so then you have an airflow issue you're fighting on the other side. So we've optimized it right around for specifically what is the cheapest way to move things through. If we were to move up to a boring company size, it gets prohibitively expensive. But it would make sense for if you're just moving people from city to city through the larger tubes. And it's the building mechanics and the way the robots work, everything is different.
How would you account for a robot on jam to a wet weather floods or something get into pipes or an earthquake happens and it moves the robot and jams? How would you?
Great question. So the way that the robot is designed, here I'll flip over to it. Right there. So these wheels right here are hub motors. So there's not a motor anywhere inside the robot. It is just on the external, and it is mounted to the external with one wire out. So the reason that we did that is that all 4 of these motors are on totally different motor controllers. They're basically 4 robots on top of this robot. That way, if any fail, they're failing locally, and the other 3 wheels can still move. If there is a problem with the battery down here, that's the thing that is shared among all of them, or a controls issue, which is also shared right there in its face, then the hub motors are designed so that there's not a way for anything to fail that keeps the robot from being able to roll on the track. So at that point, whatever robot is behind it comes up and connects to it in the back, and they approximate a train. So however many motors are alive on the dead robot, plus the robot on the back, they will go and deliver 2 stops between the two of them, and then the robot in the back can go push the dead robot into an access hatch. On the water, we've had water in the system. It's going to happen, especially in Georgia. Like, there's hurricanes, and they have a ton of water there. We have done a ton to make sure that you can't get water into the system, but like water funds are already given, so it's going to happen. In those situations, there are already they're called daylighting crews. So there's services that exist for water and sewage and storm drains. There's just like these big long vacuums, so you can call them anytime, 24/7, and in 20 minutes they're out there and they're putting their vacuum in, sucking water out. So we just use like that already exists at scale for clearing out water in systems. Then we have a cleaning robot that we can send in to like get dust and mud out if that happens. And then on the earthquake side, that's the easiest. Like the way that earthquakes shake the ground is the dirt kind of approximates like water when it's shaking. And so underneath the ground, the pipes are just kind of gonna like wobble like this during the earthquake. All the energy is released like a wave at the crest. So on the surface is where all the energy is released. Like if you feel a wave while you're underneath the water, like at the ocean, you kind of get a little bit of like this action, but you're not feeling the break of it. So the pipes just kind of move around a little bit, but underground's the safest place to be in an earthquake.
So like in the unlikely event like it derails and like goes sideways, is there a way to fix that, or is that like that?
It's not like geometrically possible, but it is possible. Like it's gonna happen at like a certain scale.
In the shade. At some point, like there could be a worse. But the idea is like, they can do simple stuff. You don't want to run you.
So on your demos, you show the robots kind of going one direction. So ideally, when it goes to scale, how are you going to get one going the other direction? And my other question was for the construction that you just started in Austin, who are the users going to be? And when you hopefully expand to the rest of the city, is it going to be a closed circuit of pipes? Because I imagine this would be really cool for rural communities that can't really get closer to the city to kind of have that access.
Great questions. So to minimize, like the game that we're fighting is how cheap per linear foot can you make the pipe? And really it's like how cheap per linear foot can you reach a destination? And if you're putting two pipes that go two directions out to a destination, you're doubling the cost of doing that. So instead of doing two pipes, what we do is we build in these circles. So this is phase one here in the middle in Austin, and then these endpoints here are phase two. So the way that we build it is that everything has flow to it, so everything moves in a clockwise direction. So if I'm here, and I'm trying to go here, I move around this way to here, and then I can come all the way back to here. So you can always reach any endpoint through that flow, which means that you can just make it work with one pipe. And the way that we get around that is because they're moving so fast and they're communicating with each other, their throughput, you can send 20,000 robots through any subsection of pipe an hour. So you get really high throughput, and they move really quickly. So you can, even though you have to work all the way around here to make it over here, you make up for it because that's like a minute and a half versus like the time that you would save going the technically shorter route. And the other question was rural, like adding to the network. Yeah, so they work just like other pipes. So at these junctions, you can keep adding sprouts. Any portal you can add a sprout, so you can just keep branching as far as you want to get.
And so, ideally, once you get to that point, then would you just have networks of pipes like all throughout the country kind of connected together, or at what point does it?
It's a good question. I don't think so. I think like we're working with Amazon right now on their DFW, and a metroplex I think is the biggest piece because Amazon and other distribution companies usually have like regional distribution centers. But if we were to like connect Austin and San Antonio, that is a long way. So I don't think it's economically viable, or even like you could even move fast enough. It's much better. I think the way that the world's going to shape is like everyone's going to build distribution centers per region, and then you have networks off of that, and then you just make sure that things are originating in the city already. Because 18-wheelers are so efficient at bashing things between cities.
And it's not like you're going to order lunch from San Antonio. You can order that from Austin. Right?
Yeah, I think. We'll play it by ear. So I think Metroplex is where we'll stop. Yeah.
First one, you said that people tried, like, never tried coming into this and then they ended up leaving. So what's the main reason why they ended up leaving? And then second, you said that you invented like a magnet for the robot. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so the magnetic suspension is it's kind of a novel use case. I don't know, like, is it invented? I don't know. I'd probably technically say no. But it's like the first use case of like kind of that size that we've seen of using magnetic suspension. We haven't found another case, but yeah, the magnetic suspension, I didn't make it. One of our engineers did. He crushed it. We have like a really hard problem where the robot is super light unloaded, so light unloaded. And you need to still be able to take out most of the vibration that you're feeling, especially because like all four wheels are on their same base. You need to be able to run smoothly. And so you can't have like a really rigid suspension that you would need for the heavier load. So you need something that's going to take out all the noise, whether it's light or, you know, up to like 100 pounds. So there's a really large range of how much weight that the wheels could have. So it's tough to find suspension that works across that range. But the mag suspension just works. We didn't even know if it would. Like we couldn't find like a use case of someone using it for like wheels in a structure like that. But it works like a dream. Like he crushed it. That's the guy you saw skateboarding. He's like the dopest dude. He's the one who made it. What was your other question? Okay. I think it's just so tough. Like a little bit has to be luck. I think like there's so many things that we've gotten lucky on that others haven't. This is really, really, really hard. You got to get the right people around the table. You gotta like, people will not believe you for years. Even though, you know, we've done it, people are still like, ooh, it seems hard. And you just like, you know, it's a little bit just like chopping a tree down. You just gotta like keep swinging the axe no matter what. You gotta keep making progress. And the team, my team is like, they're so good at swinging the axe. They're getting up every day and like just keep swinging no matter what happens. They're swinging the axe. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Staying optimistic has a lot to do with it. Finding great partners like Josh, Capital Factory, like we got super lucky on that. Those are things that you can't, those are the serendipity pieces that you can't control. I think the other thing is like you can manage your serendipity a lot by like being online. And like I think that's where we maybe got lucky the most is we just keep broadcasting the message, keep broadcasting. And that's where we picked up like, you know, the customers we'd never be able to cold email into. The investors we never be able to cold email into. That's helped a ton. And at the other side, we send a crazy amount of cold email, and we've gotten super lucky in cold email. So it's just like relentless broadcasting, relentless, like no matter what happens, keep chopping down at the tree, and then luck.
Can you take a little diversion and just talk about AI? How are you using it? How do you think about it? How it's affecting what you do?
Yeah, totally. So I'll talk about it personally, and then how we use it on the team. I think like you look at a hardware company, you're like, okay, how much are we using AI? We're using AI like you would not believe, dog. We have one software guy, and I think we'll only ever have one software guy. He's doing our firmware. He's doing our front end. He's doing our back end. He's doing all the network orchestration stuff. I mean, that's something that like usually you'd have, you know, a huge software team. I don't think we'll ever have another software guy because he is cranking on it. And this is like a traditional software guy. Like to his credit, you know, we looked at this pretty early, probably like 3 years ago, and we're like, okay, we're gonna like probably not grow as much. So everyone's job is getting, you know, how do you augment yourself with AI so much that you can just kind of crush your division and you never hire anyone under you, and then we'll make sure you're getting paid so much like you'll be fine with never hiring anyone. Like you won't want to hire anyone because you'll, you know, you don't want to share the paycheck with them. And everyone did a great job at that. Our software guy, we have one construction person. I don't know if we will have another construction person. She crushes. She does all our permitting. She crushes. And what we found is like there's this really good sweet spot of using AI and a key expert as an advisor. That's the killer. If you can have a key expert who can solve the things that aren't in the model and can make the connections that you can't reach by emailing people, and then use AI for everything else, That's all you need for any of those things. So same thing on the product side. Like we had to make an app for the grocery concept that we're doing, and like when we were talking about okay, we're gonna like make a dark store grocery store and run it on the network. A lot of people were like, okay, we're gonna have to make an app, and it's like, brother, I cannot explain to you how that is like the bottom thing that we're looking at. And they're like, it's gonna take longer to make a production grade app, and it took us like days. It was so, like, we have a guy who's great at AI and building AI apps, so he crushed it. But I think we have like one of the better grocery shopping apps on the market. And like to your point on UI, it's like we said, okay, we can make an app really quick. Make an app really quick. It's gonna look like we made it really quick. It's gonna look kind of bad. So how do we take all the time savings that we're doing in making an app that works and use that to make an app that is visually stunning, great craft. It feels really good to use. So we took all the products that we have at the store and we ran them through, we made this like AI hand painting filter. So they all have this visual aesthetic of looking like they're painted onto the screen. It took like a few times and a bunch of user testing to figure out like, okay, what is like the most joy-maxing version of a broccoli that someone can see. And it ended up with this kind of like sort of watercolored, sort of like pencil-colored look. What we found is it like made text super easy to read. It took away this like stale, like a lot of Amazon photos have this like overproduced like it looks like it was taken on like a product stage. There's like the lighting's kind of weird. And it gave us just like, these hues are just so delightful to look at. Like the strawberries just pop. Like those strawberries look amazing. And then that across like all the little pieces that you put in the app. Like no one would be like, oh, that's AI in the app. But it's like AI on the back end, making it work and making it magical.
All those images are dynamically generated. Are they each then polished?
No, our product guy is the best at making giant prompts. And he'll like tweak a prompt till it's perfect. And so it's too many SKUs to go in and like polish. So he just had to get really good at like.
Wow, those look awesome.
Yeah, he crushed it. So he's got a prompt that will take like an input of, now he just batch runs it on, he has an API that
put my picture through that filter?
Yeah, I bet it crushed.
Josh Barkley.
But yeah, no, he's really good. So we found that like if you have this person who's really good at using AI, they can just do so much. They're so augmented and leveraged. So that's kind of what we've been focusing on, is finding people who are really curious, really good at using AI, and then giving them just a ton of responsibility.
Do you have any internship opportunities?
We have so many internship opportunities. If you are very curious and you want to come grind at a startup, that is what we're looking for. We don't really want to hire on the main team. We just want to hire, we've had this role for a while. It's kind of like an entrepreneur in residence role. We'll never call it that. But it's been really successful. The people who have, quote unquote, graduated from it have all raised over $1 million right after they leave. It's like a 3 to 6 months role. People usually stay a little longer. But what we do is we just give you our hardest problems. And we're just like, this is our hardest problem. You're 100% full-time solving this problem. Good luck. Use all the tools in your arsenal. And the people that we look for are people who kind of fit those skills. They love making joyful experiences. They will go, we call it goblin mode. They'll go goblin mode on a problem that's hard and just like relentlessly try to solve it. And they're able to use a lot of different tools. They can learn a tool really quick. If they're hitting a roadblock, they're finding a new pathway to solve it. That's what we're looking for, and we rarely find that person. We haven't had that person in like 6 months, and we were dying for that person. So when Josh asked me to come, that was selfishly, I'll do anything Josh asks because he's has helped us a ton. But I was like, oh, I hope I find one of those people. So
right.
if you're interested in that, let me know.
How old are you, Garrett?
What's that?
How old are you?
31.
So think back, what you've seen in the pitches today, you've seen the demos today. These are all undergrads at UT. What would be your advice for them?
I think my biggest advice is like, I learned this way too late, but like, if you're doing something new, the price to do something new is being cringe. And like, even I had this saying is like, until you hit product market fit in a company, being cringe is the CEO's job. And you just have to do it. I did not want to use social media and talk about the things that I was doing, like this stuff. Did not want to. No one could convince me. I was like, no, it's gonna be good, and people are gonna like see that it's good, and like they'll like it because it'll stand on its merit, and that's just not how it happens. You have to market, you have to be a storyteller, you have to get super excited for things that feel cringe. And especially in AI, like if you can marry, you're really good at making product, and you're okay failing at distribution, doing TikTok, being the face, it looks really bad for a long time. Your friends make fun of you, that's okay because you're learning, you get those reps, and eventually you crack it. That's the game. So you just gotta it took me forever to realize it could be cringe at scale. But I think that's the thing that I wish I'd learned quicker. That took me forever to learn.
Awesome. Garrett, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. I know you're super busy, you got your company you're building, and just really appreciate you spending your time with us. Let's give Garrett a big round of applause.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, I got two more things for you. Kyle, why don't you walk Frankie up here? Stormy does not like Frankie.
You guys a bit of a stomp.
All right, that's Frankie. Can Frankie wave?
What's that?
Can you make Frankie wave?
Oh man, I need to get off the controller here. Hold on. Stand by.
All right, while he's working on that, all right, I'm gonna give you guys a pitch. So, assignment for next week. Wave, hi, Frankie. Is to you can build anything you saw somebody pitch today, meaning anything all of you pitched today, anything you saw, anything you got inspired by from Garrett, or what I'm about to say. Ideally, I'm not usually restricted about it, but if you pitch something and then build what you pitched, and then pitch something and then build what you pitched, and then especially if you do the same thing, you're not really getting the point. The point is to every week try something. You can try pitches over and over, but with building, we want to try building different things, and because part of the point is to show what you can do quickly and to try different things and push yourself, right? And so that's the general idea. So what I'm going to tell you about is an app that I actually built for myself. A long time ago, I had somebody build for me, and I've used it quite a bit, although I've stopped because it got kind of out of date, and so I'd really love to have somebody rebuild it for me. And it's really to help me do what I do most of the time, and what a lot of venture capitalists and relationship people do, which is make introductions and connections. And you can think about it, I'm just meeting people all day long, and constantly, and then I meet somebody else, and I'm constantly trying to connect them together. I meet with investors, and they're telling me what they want to invest in and where they're from and what kinds of things they're interested in and what their background is. And then I'm meeting with some startup a couple meetings later, and they're and I should be making the connection, oh, the startup's working on that, they said they want to invest in that, I want to make that intro, right? Or I'm meeting with a startup and they're telling me about their interest in, water skiing or legal stuff or whatever it is, and I want to know who I know that's passionate about those things or can help with those things, that's an investor for those things. That's what I do all day long. And to be honest, most people just do it in their head. They're thinking about it, right? And it works pretty good. I'm pretty good at that. And I'm meeting people all the time. And if you're top of mind for me, it's good. But then after a while, I might forget, right? And so I built this tool for myself. I call it Contact Hub. And basically, it's built on top of my Apple address book, which, to be honest, is not the way I think you should do it moving forward because it really cluttered up my address book. But these are all just contacts from my address book. I could search for anybody, so I could search for my assistant, Aless. You can see that she's in here, right? And then I can really easily add tags to anybody, and I can just make up whatever tags I want. And so I could say okay, well, she's female, right? Oops. And she's also my executive assistant. Right? You can see I've already got these tags, so as I add them, they should show up right away. And when I start to type them, they just autocomplete because I've already made them before. But then I might think of another thing, I know that, she was born. Were you born in Austin? You're born in California, but you live. All right. So let's see. What do I got? I got born in Houston born. Now I don't have California born, right? So so I don't have California born, right? I've got like Texas born, Miami born. So I'm just gonna add a tag. Oops, that was not what I wanted to do actually. I'm gonna say California born. Can I spell? And that tag doesn't exist, and so it's because it doesn't exist. It just makes it. And so now she's California born too. And then you can see at the bottom it says recommending tags. This part, it works, but it's really slow, and because this was like before ChatGPT, this will be so much better now. And so now what it does is it actually looks and it says like, okay, look at other people in my database that are tagged California born and executive assistants and female, and maybe look at like other things that are in our contact record, and say like, oh, well, you probably want to tag them like works at Capital Factory, which would be like, or employee alumni. Like she's worked for me. Right? It might suggest other things like that. And when they show up, then you just like tap it once and it just adds them on. So one, it makes it really easy to add tags, especially because like it's usually like, wow, I'm talking to somebody. I'm figuring, and I'm like literally like I have to write it down, but I have to do it super fast. So being able to just type the first few characters and then like add it, makes it work really well. And then maybe I'm meeting with somebody else, later. And so the first thing also it ties in with my calendar. Doesn't seem to be working very well. Let's see. All right, my calendar is apparently not really showing up today. But normally, like when I do this, you would see what's on my calendar today. And what's cool about that is if I'm like taking notes, chances are I want to take notes about whoever I'm talking to right now. And for me, that's usually on my calendar, and like they're invited to it. And so I might see today, like meeting with Anjali. And I tap it, and it would just show me the people invited to that meeting, which would be Anjali. And so then I would click Anjali, and I could take notes about her, right? So let's see, is Anjali in here? There she is. And I probably don't have anything for her yet. And so I think I've got something for my TAs. TAs, too generic. Let's roll it out. See, I've done a lot. I've been doing this for a long time. I have a lot of tags just with TA in them. I don't remember exactly what I called this. TA. I had TA alumni or something. Let's try Longhorn Startup. All right, I might have deleted some tags, so I'm not finding out. You can see I could like find different people. And that might, because I want to tag who I'm talking to right now. But then say, I'm talking to Anjali, and she's like, hey, I got this startup from the class. And they're looking for investors. They'd really like to meet some investors. So I come to my database of tags, and I've got a lot of tags. There's one of the reasons it's not good to be built on the address book is because each of these is like a group in my address book. So like most people have like 4 groups, and I have like 4,000, and it makes my really slow, so it's kind of frozen right now. I think it's kind of loading. It'll probably crash, so let me just make it crash. I'll try that again. And so then I come back in, and let's say now I can search my tags and say, okay, well, let's go in and say like I want to find people from Austin. So I started cleaning this up, and I deleted some tags, and it looks like I may have deleted just core Austin. So let's try Texas. Let's try Dallas. Is that Dallas? I deleted Dallas too. Houston? How about New York? Let's New York. Okay. So this is like everybody I know in New York, right? But then normally what I want to do that I hadn't found, and this is actually one of the most important things that I've ever found anything to do, is to be able to combine the tags together. So like now I want people in New York, but I also want investors, right? So I started to type investor. And now you can see, sorry, it's really slow, but I've got all kinds of different investor tags in here. You can see invest over $25 million fund, active angel investor, active whale, whales write big checks, active angel, angel list, corporate, diversity, dual use, family, all these different kinds of investors. But it turns out they're really primarily looking for what kind of investors do I want here? Scrolls. You see I have lots lots of different versions of investors. VC. Let's see, VC investors, which I have 510. But now I'm combining the two tags together. It's like investors in New York City. So now, sorry, the UI is a little clunky, but it's only showing me the investors I know in New York City, right? Great, so now I've kind of narrowed it down. But actually, it's not just that, because they don't just want investors in New York City, they want investors in New York City that also want to invest in health. So now I'm adding another tag for health tech. I've got 150 healthcare people. How many of them are also investors in New York City? Well, just one, Bain Capital. So maybe, that was a weird example. We could have had a couple, or whatever. Let's take off healthcare again for a second. Just delete that tag. And so now these are my New York investors. They'd say, okay, honestly, I'm gonna give you my list of I want to share this list with you so you can know who to contact. So I'm gonna click share. What do I want to share? Well, I could send her a V-card with all of the contacts and all of their contact info. But actually, I don't want to send the VCs. I just want to send people. So I'm going to uncheck those because these ones, they're all just people. And then I hit compose. And now we'll go to my email, and I've got an email composed with my tags from New York, and investor. And they're attached as a VCF file that she could just click and import into her address book. And then I can send it to Anjali, right? So I can share it really easily. But maybe I don't want to actually share all of the email addresses. Maybe instead, what I want to do when I make this list is I want to email them and be like, hey, you should meet Anjali, right? So then I can come here and say, instead of share, say email contacts. And again, like I want to email all of them, but not Jay Levy. I do not like that guy. So take him off, and now I hit compose, and now I've got everybody in the BCC like all ready to go, and I can be like, let me tell you about my Anjali, you should really meet her, and they're all ready to go. So this is like what I do all the time, right? Is like talk to people, take notes about them, make lists of people, combine the list together, and then like I want to share the list. I want to email the list, or I want to give the list to somebody. And this is this is not multi-user. This is like just Josh, right? And it's like what's in Josh's head. So this is actually like really awesome. I was kind of like famous for it. I don't keep it up. I've kind of stopped using it over the past few years as we've grown and the team's gotten so big, because having it just be with me isn't that good, and because it started slowing down my address book. So what I really want to do now is do this same thing, but instead probably just point it at Airtable, because we all use Airtable, and then it would just be faster. And then this database could be shared with my team. So like if I tag somebody, they're this kind of investor, like everybody else could see it too, right? So this is the app I would love to have somebody build. It's like an app for me that lets me do this kind of thing, like super easily, like as fast as possible. So I'm doing it while I'm talking to them. Like add tags to people, and then combine the tags to make these lists, and then share them, and things like that. So that's Contact Hub. Oops. Okay, and then lastly, you can go ahead and put the attendance slide up. I want to talk about Frankie. So Frankie is a Unitree robot, humanoid robot. We invested in a company called Apptronic, which is UT Austin company. It's one of the most advanced humanoid robots in the world. This is one of the only ones you can actually just go buy. It's about $25,000 for like honestly like not the super fancy version. But it's a real humanoid robot, and it walks around, and they can make it, program it a little bit, and make it do things. And we're still trying to figure out what to make it go do. And so we actually have another robot that's called the Temi, and it's a little bit different kind of a robot. It rolls around on wheels, and it is really designed to be like a tour guide. Like you can talk to it, and it can answer questions. It's got an LM built into it, so then you can feed it full of data, and it can so it should like know about Capital Factory, and it should be tied in to know which events are going on today, and where all the rooms are, and where it is. And you can be like, hey, I'm looking for Longhorn Startup class, and it's like downstairs in the lobby. It's like, oh, it should be like Longhorn Startup is up on the 8th floor. You're like, want me to, you're like, how do I get there? It's like, follow me over to the elevators, and it like walks you over to the elevators, right? And like tells you to go upstairs. So we have one of those, but it's like not being used right now because we haven't like taught it anything, like what to go do. So I'm looking for a robot or robotics intern who wants to learn how to use these and come help us make or do stuff. So if that's interesting to you, it'd be kind of thing you do like 10 hours a week kind of thing, like and then when we have events going on, like we want you to come and like drive the robot around, and like things like that. And if it's something you're interested in, or you know somebody who would be, looking for somebody to go do that. And Garrett, where do they find out about your internships?
Just email me at garrett@pipedreamlabs.co. I'll send the email to John.
Garrett at pipedreamlabs.co.
No resume.
Yeah.
If you're interested, just send me something dope you made, and we can talk more about. We're good.
Awesome. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. You get to build whatever you want. I'm super excited to see what you do and to hear your pitches. Thanks, Garrett.
I also have parking passes if you guys need it.